So that's a great question, Emily, yes, it was an epiphany having to. I had an exec I used to cook for, and they would pay $55,000 per person for a weekend at this ranch out in West Texas, right? And so most of the people that were paying were majority white men and a couple of white women. There was not much of anybody else, and then the whole crew is black. So you could just put in perspective when you think of, all the old movies and things like that, where you see a bunch of white people eating and a bunch of black people working or cooking for them, song and dance, dog and pony show. So I had to train my people to understand. I said, look, I know these people, but we are in the country. I don't need anybody to be afraid of the fact that we are 45 miles from the nearest gas station or police station or fire station, right? So, I need you to understand that you have to be afraid of nothing. And because what's going to happen is going to happen. But if you bring that energy with you, it's truly going to happen, right? Because you brought it. And energy feeds off energy. We're all carbon-based life forms. We feed off each other's energy. You know, you ever have that conversation where you're talking about somebody and then they give you a call, right? Or that old saying, your ears must be burning. I was talking about you. Those aren't just sayings. Those are energy that see, all you shaking the head, see, that has nothing to do with color, right? Everybody knows these phrases, right? Because that's the way our universe is, right? And the best way to get back to nothing is to understand that for the most part, these past things, like white people often get blamed for things that their ancestors did. And I tell people, I said, don't blame them for what their ancestors did, blame them for what they're not doing now. I said, I understand slavery. I used to blame my ancestors and say, why didn't you stay yourself in Africa? Why'd you get on the boat? Right? Why'd you even come over? Right? And people were like, well, you can't blame them for the decisions that you made because you wasn't there. What are you doing to make that change now? Right? And getting my people to understand that, oh my God, it's like pulling teeth. I'm a dentist a lot of times because I'm like, it's okay. All white people aren't bad, just like all black people aren't good, right? Let's keep it real. Let's keep it 100. And in understanding that and building that gap to get back to nothing, you have to release the fear of the unknown. You got to release the fear of them being so much different than you that it cripples you and stifles you from your own personal growth. Because once I got over that hatred that I didn't even that nothing necessarily happened to me as a kid. Well, I take that back. There were a few instances of racism that happened to me real bad as a kid, but I got over it. But then my father reiterated with the fact to not trust white people. So as I got older, it just got worse, right? And then, my teenage years is when I realized that, you can't trust everything your parents say. You got to take it as a few grains of salt as opposed to just one grain of salt, right? So, so yeah, I mean, getting back to that nothing, I mean, just realize that, we're arguing over stuff that's petty. We're all gonna die one day. We're all gonna become worm food. We're all gonna deteriorate. Why don't we enjoy our time with one another now and help to build a better world so we can have this world in 30 years, as opposed to having to move to Mars because we destroyed the sun, foolishness.